Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Danneman. She is Gabby Sorrentino, and thanks for watching another episode of Bengals Locker Room Conversations. We are on stage at Newport on the Levee. We've never done this show from this spot.
Nice.
But I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone because we're taping here tonight and talking about the Bengals here on Fox 19 Now's platforms. Okay, in this episode, you will hear from Zac Taylor, you will hear from Chase Brown, Mike Gesicki, and also Chris Jenkins. Look, it's Ohio State-Michigan week, and Chris Jenkins has a lot to say about that rivalry. But the big story this week is Zac Taylor announcing on Monday the anticipated return of Joe Burrow on Thanksgiving night. That would be 74 days since the injury to return. Look, I know Zach's saying anticipated return. The writing's on the wall. The Bengals star quarterback is back this week.
And you feel like there's such a vibe and so much excitement in the locker room to have Joe Burrow back in there, to know that he's playing. I know some of the guys kind of alluded to it in the locker room, maybe a few slip-ups, but of course there's excitement around Joe Burrow returning. We're going to see how the toe does in a real game setting. That's going to be the real test. You asked Zac Taylor about that, and he said it's really hard to test these kinds of things in practice, but game time is when we're going to figure it all out for Joe Burrow.
Okay, let's start right there with the Bengals head coach, and Joe Burrow dominated a lot of our conversation with Bengals head coach Zac Taylor. We're with the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, Zac Taylor, talking about the Bengals coming off the Patriots game, now looking towards Thanksgiving night in Baltimore. Of course, the big news is right before we taped this, you had your press conference and said you anticipate Joe Burrow makes his return on Thursday night. What can you say about Joe and his recovery to go from where he was week 2 to a lot of people saying he might not be back until mid-December, he might miss the rest of the season? Here he now has a chance to make his return on Thursday.
He's just worked really hard to put himself in this position to be available to play for us, and so credit to him. He's worked behind the scenes when no one's paying attention, doing everything he can to try to help this team win games.
But that's not a surprise to you. That's just kind of who he is.
Yeah, it's exactly who he is. He's a football player that just wants to get on the field and play football.
Okay, it's got to be a challenge, though, for a guy who hasn't played since week 2 to jump right back into it and go out there and be himself. Do you anticipate it'll be difficult for him to go out and be what everybody expects him to be, and that's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL?
Well, I think the process has been the right one for us, where we opened the 21-day window. He's been throwing a lot. He started doing 11 on 11 last week. Was trying to mentally get himself ready to play against the Patriots. Made a decision to hold him out. And so now he'll hopefully be ready to go on Thursday if that's the decision we end up making. So he's done everything he can to put himself in a position to be successful. Impossible to predict how the game's going to look, but again, he's a different type of player that usually gets out there and finds a way to execute.
It's also impossible to simulate everything you see on a football field. You play the position. What are some of the final things that you can't simulate in practice that then you just have to see and make adjustments to in a game?
Oh, the feel of the rush. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Extending plays, the feel of the rush. Those are things that in practice we usually try to keep guys away from our starting quarterback. So you're very mindful to not catch a hand on somebody's helmet as you're finishing through in a practice rep. So those are things that will certainly be different for a guy that's been out for a while that gets back on the field.
Has it energized the building to see Joe back on the practice field, getting closer to return? Can you sense that guys are excited?
Yeah, well, one of my favorite things in life is to watch Joe Burrow play football. And so I think anytime he's out there on the field doing it for whatever context it is, whether it's part of rehab, whether it's 7-on-7, routes on air, group install, practice, scout team reps, it's always fun to watch him play. So yes, I'm very excited.
You've talked a lot about what Joe Flacco went through, overcame to go out there and give you whatever he had here, fighting through injury, coming here, being dropped right into the middle of a season. What can you say about what Joe Flacco gave this team?
Yeah, I mean, I know our record is what it is, but Joe gave us a lot of hope when we were out there. Every time he had the ball in his hands, you felt like we had a chance to go in the game. And so, again, he fought through injuries. He was in a lot of pain over the course of a lot of weeks. He was in pain during games and would go back in. I mean, dislocated his finger Sunday and missed one play and then went back in and threw a fade ball to T on the next play. So, certainly a guy that I'm glad I've gotten to know, and he's been a huge help to us here in the building.
Before we move on to Baltimore, I want to look back at New England because there were a lot of positives that came from this. Look, the defense has played better the last couple of weeks. The goal line stand over, 8 to 10 plays that they kept New England out of the end zone, the pick six. Guys are making plays. Guys are fighting. They're playing hard. You have to see improvement right now from your defense.
Absolutely. And again, our standard is very high on what we expect as a football team, but there's been a lot of positives defensively over the last 2 weeks. We got to continue to build on them. Got a lot of young guys that are getting reps, and they're getting better every single game. They're getting more confident. They're getting control of what they're trying to do and help those around them. And so there's a lot of things to be encouraged about right now.
Thursday's cool. It's Thanksgiving. It's the primetime game. It's two rivals, two great quarterbacks. A lot of history between these two. How much are you looking forward to the moment that you get? I know it's going to be cold on Thursday night in Baltimore, but how much are you looking forward to this moment, having this game in the stage you've got?
We're excited to move forward and find a win, and that's the biggest thing. And it's a huge game for us in the division on the road. These games have always been down to the wire, down to the last play of the game every time we've gone there and played in a night game, which is 4 years in a row now. So our guys will be fired up for it. And it's a short week, so you don't have a lot of time to focus on what just happened. You got to get a lot of work in very quickly, get yourself prepared, and go out there and find a way to win.
All right, lastly, Zach, our special guest this week is Eric All, a guy that, your reaction is exactly just that, who's been dealt some tough breaks, but we see him all the time here at the facility. Can you kind of give fans a little bit of perspective on what he's dealing with, how hard he's working, and how much you look forward to the rest of his career?
Yeah, I love Eric All. One of my favorite guys I've been around. I've only coached him for 7 or 8 games, and unfortunate string of injuries dating all the way back to college, even in his senior year to dealing with it last year. He was working his tail off to get back out there on the field. But if you look up the definition of football player in the dictionary, it's a picture of Eric All. I mean, that's all he cares about is hitting people and being in a position to physically help his team win the game. Whether he's catching the ball, running the ball, blocking, it does not matter. You could probably play him as an O lineman. You could play him as a D lineman. You could tell him he's going to kick in this game and he'll do whatever it takes. But he's doing everything within his power to get back out there and help us on the field.
All right, so speaking of injuries, Mike Gesicki has been out for a few games. He made his return Sunday against New England, and he kind of looked like the old Mike out there, Joe. Still probably fighting some of that injury, but it seems like he's ready to go after that game, said he's feeling good. I loved where you talked a little bit about Thanksgiving with Mike Gesicki and some traditions that he has.
You're going to find out in this interview, Mike Gesicki used to play high school football games on Thanksgiving. Yeah, you're shaking your head. I've never heard of that around here. Now, Zac Taylor said that's something he did growing up as well, that he's always played on Thanksgiving. So that must be a tradition outside of the Cincinnati area. But you think back to Sunday's game, and at the end of the game, the Bengals didn't have, of course, Jamar Chase.
Right.
They didn't have T. Higgins. Jermaine Burton was inactive. So Mike Gesicki was one of the main targets for Joe Flacco as the Bengals tried to put together a game-winning drive. A lot of people watching this are wondering why there wasn't a call on that last 4th down. That is part of our conversation with Bengals tight end Mike Gesicki inside the locker room. Okay, first game back. How do you feel coming out of yesterday and getting back on the field?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. Obviously, it's been a kind of a roller coaster for me in that, first initial phase of getting injured and all that kind of stuff, and didn't know if I was going to be able to get back out there, but to just have that opportunity to go out there and, play football and be out there and have fun on Sundays, so it was fun.
Okay, I don't want to get you in trouble with referees or anything, but have you had a chance to look back at the final play? And you experience it in the moment, but you watch it on film. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a bang play. Sometimes that gets called, sometimes it doesn't, and that was just kind of the case yesterday.
Okay, what do you think of the team? Because you guys were down, your 4 best players, right? No Jamar, no Joe, no T, no Trey, and you guys still fought against one of the best teams in the NFL. How do you feel about where this team is right now?
Yeah, I think it's a credit to the guys in the locker room. It's a credit to Zach and the coaching staff. There's no quit. Unfortunately, the ball just hasn't bounced our way this year. But there's still time. And just got to take it one day at a time, 1 week at a time, and that starts, tomorrow when we get back in here, and then ultimately, Thursday night to stay alive.
Mathematically, you guys are still alive, but when it comes to winning in the NFL and guys are playing for jobs, coaches are coaching for jobs, how important is winning to what you guys do fundamentally at your core?
It's why we do what we do, so it's everything. But, you can't go into it with the mindset of it's for this or for that, other than it's just for winning. We just invest too much time, and there's too much talent and too many great coaches that we have for us to. We're gonna find a way at some point, and the ball's gonna roll our way, and things are gonna turn around, and the adversity that we've been able to fight through is ultimately gonna help us and make us better. It's tough to see that right now, and I'm sure on the outside looking in, everybody's got an opinion, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I'm proud of the locker room, and I'm proud of the coaching staff, and we got enough ball left. So.
Okay. Nobody's made an announcement about Joe if he's going to play on Thursday night or not. How much are you looking forward to if he does get back out there, coming back to a spot, being himself, and quarterbacking this team?
Yeah, absolutely. I think whoever's back there, whether it's Flacco or whether it's Jake or Joe, or honestly, I don't really know the whole situation, but if it is Joe, and that is what happens, obviously, going to be super excited and just want to make plays for him.
Thanksgiving night, first time you've done it as a professional. You said you played on Thanksgiving in high school. How much are you looking forward to playing on what is one of the biggest stages in the NFL?
Yeah, it's really cool. Outside of like playing in the playoffs and big games like that, I mean, this is the stage you want to play on Thanksgiving. The whole world's watching. We're the night game, so great. AFC North divisional game and great matchup against a phenomenal team, and it's going to be a nice opportunity for us.
So looking forward to Thursday night against the Baltimore Ravens. We anticipate that T. Higgins will not play. In fact, Zac Taylor said on Monday that he's out.
Yep.
Both Trey Hendrickson and T. Higgins are out for that game. Jamar Chase is back from his one-game suspension, but certainly we saw the connection and the chemistry of Joe Burrow and Mike Gesicki last year, even early in this season.
Mm-hmm.
We might get to see that again on Thursday night against the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, so you just spoke about injuries. What about running back Taj Brooks? He is also out for Thursday. And it feels like the heavy workload is back on Chase Brown. It's kind of the same thing that happened last season. Running backs get injured. Chase Brown has been the guy. He's back to taking most of the snaps for the Bengals. We saw him have a good game against the Patriots on Sunday. More of that coming for Chase Brown on Thursday night.
How do you get yourself ready?
Obviously do a ton of recovery, but I feel really good right now. So I think my body will be in great shape for Thursday.
Do you like playing on Thanksgiving? I mean, I don't know if you've ever had a chance to.
I've never played on Thanksgiving, no, but I've always have a memory of like watching the Thanksgiving game. So like in college, like we'd always be, at somebody's house or at the team event, and it'd be like Detroit and the Bears or Green Bay and teams like that. So it'll be a cool experience being able to go out there.
Do you celebrate Thanksgiving?
Here? Yeah, I did last year. Yeah. Like I cooked and everything, so won't be able to do that this year. Probably do something on Friday, like just a little dinner with my family. So it'll be good.
I just didn't know growing up in Canada.
No, there is a Canadian Thanksgiving. It's just in October, not November. It's like a month early or something like that.
So you cook, what's your specialty dish or?
I did a turkey last year for the first time. I don't know why I want to do it, but I think like Thanksgiving's on I don't remember. Was it like a Thursday last year?
Thursday.
Okay, Thursday every year. Okay.
Yeah, we can't land before, guys.
Note to self. I searched up a recipe and then realized that I didn't have anything that I needed to cook a turkey. So like I went on Uber Eats and ordered everything like the morning of, and we had practice that day I think, or the day before, something like that. Anyways, I got everything that night. I ended up making the turkey. I did a good job. End of story.
Back to football.
Yeah.
What is it about this team you think will give this team fight the rest of the year, no matter what the team's record is?
Yeah, I think most importantly we just got to stick together. I think where we're at in the season right now, it's really about going out and just playing with energy, playing with effort, just controlling the controllables, making the plays that come your way. At the end of the day, that's really what it is.
What did you see from yesterday? What you remember about the game that tells you guys did exactly that?
Well, I think, especially the last two games, we haven't put the ball in the end zone enough. So I think that makes it a little bit tough to win games. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's really my takeaway with that. I think the defense has been doing a really good job. So we just got to put more points on the board at the end of the day, and you probably see a different result from these last two games.
What about your rhythm as a running back? What have you found in your rhythm running the ball the last several weeks?
I found a tempo that I wasn't really using at the start of the season. It's allowing the O-line to really dominate and get their block set and get up to the second level. And especially on the tape, you kind of see the linebackers second-guessing themselves. They're jumping one way and we're going the other, and it feels really good. But, you know, it's not all me. The O-line's playing at a really high level, and they're winning their one-on-ones and allowing me to find run lanes behind them.
It feels like in the small sample size of your NFL career, you get better as the year goes on. Why is that?
Great question.
Thanks.
I don't know. I think with more reps and as I get a feel for things, like, you know, I keep getting better, but I feel like when I get hot, it's pretty hard to put that out. I haven't talked with my trainer about that, and something that, you know, I even remember from last year, like when I went on the little streak there. It's just when I got hot and I started to get a feel for it, I was able to play at a high level consistently.
You talk about getting hot. It kind of sounds like a shooter in basketball when they're starting to make threes.
Yeah.
Is that a real thing for a running back too?
I think so. Like when you can almost anticipate where the ball is going to go before it happens, it's like, I can imagine it being like a basketball player knowing how to get to a spot and take the shot. So I'd say something like that.
Your room is pretty banged up right now. How comfortable are you if they have to come to you 25, 30 times on Thursday?
Perfectly fine. I'll take all the opportunity. It's nothing new to me either. Like, you know, I'm somebody that they can rely on, the coaches can rely on, and you know, even if I'm not feeling my best, I know how to get my body right for game day at the end of the day. So really just trying to be consistent and do whatever I can to help the outcome of these games coming up.
The anticipation of Joe Burrow's return continues to build.
Yeah.
We haven't been told anything. I don't know if you guys have, but just how much is this room anticipating his return to playing quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's thinking about it. He's kind of at that time of his recovery where, you know, it could be any week now. So that's really up to him and, you know, the training staff and, you know, people that have been working closely with him throughout his recovery process. But, I mean, it could be any week. He's been out of practice. He's, you know, taken a lot of reps with us and team periods. So it could really be any week.
Okay, so a lot of good stuff from Chase Brown. My favorite was his story about the turkey on Thanksgiving. I want to know, what's your secret on Thanksgiving to a turkey? Anything?
Eat it.
You don't have a special recipe?
I don't
special
touch
way
the
of...
turkey. Are you kidding me? That looks
I don't either.
complicated.
Yeah.
To make a turkey, and Chase Brown found that out.
Yes,
you can't
he didn't
just
have any
bring
ingredients.
a frozen turkey, pop it in the oven, and expect it to look like it does on TV. If I did it, it would look like Clark Griswold on Christmas night. You cut open and it's just dry and dead. It's gone.
All bones.
Yeah, I'm just there to eat on Thanksgiving. I also liked what he said about the hot hand analogy, about getting hot like a basketball player when you just kind of know where to go and the game slows down for you. I think we're seeing that with Chase Brown. He's been excellent the last 5 or 6 weeks.
Right.
And you can see, too, him starting to gel with his offensive line. But that also came when Joe Flacco took over at quarterback. And Joe Flacco plays under center a lot more than Joe Burrow does. Can that mojo that Chase Brown has had with the offensive line continue now that Joe Burrow is back playing quarterback? That's one thing to watch starting this Thursday night in Baltimore. Okay, our final conversation now goes to Chris Jenkins. And we talk some football with Chris Jenkins. When I say football, I mean his current job, playing in the NFL against the Baltimore Ravens. But a lot of the conversation is about Ohio State, Michigan. It's the most talked about football game in America this week. Can Ohio State break the streak of 4 consecutive years of losing against Michigan? Chris Jenkins has owned Ohio State when he was at Michigan. So I was curious to go up to him and talk to him. We'll talk about the NFL stuff first, but later in the conversation, you're going to hear what has been the secret sauce for Michigan against Ohio State in recent years. Chris talks about that now in our conversation with the Bengals defensive tackle.
Are you looking forward to playing on Thanksgiving? It's a holiday, but you got to work.
Are you looking forward to playing on Thanksgiving night?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you grow up watching Thanksgiving football, and that stuff you do with your family. So us having the opportunity to play on Thanksgiving night on a Thursday night game against the Ravens, that's awesome.
What's the challenge of a backfield that has Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry?
Really just like we kind of talked about, really communication and playing violent and physical. They have some very athletic, very physical players, so we really got to be ready. Just bring that mentality and play physical and be ready for the talent that they got.
Okay, I want to ask you this question because it's Ohio State-Michigan week. What's the secret of 4 straight years of Michigan beating Ohio State? Because from an outsider's perspective, they've been ranked number 1, number 2. I think they've been ranked as high or higher than Michigan every year, but you guys keep beating them.
Yeah.
How?
I would say that physicality and the leadership we got, a lot of people going to say otherwise, but, man, whenever we play O State, it's just different energy in the whole state and the whole campus. And even from the young guys to the old guy, everybody's just got one thing on their mind, and that's whooping they butt. I ain't trying to cuss, but it gets intense that week, and we loved it.
Okay, so for the longest time, people always said that game, the two teams had so much respect for each other. I don't know about that. Is that right? Do you guys respect each other, or do you not respect them?
After the game, absolutely. After, there's some guys from O State that we got a lot of respect for each other. But when it's this week especially, and right before that game, they're not at all.
Do you notice it getting in their head? Did you notice it? Because look, at 4 years in a row, and I know you weren't there last year, but do you notice it starting to affect them, that when they show up and you guys start doing what you're doing, that they start to think, oh God, it's happening again?
Oh, absolutely. That's gonna, if that's happening years and years in a row and you start to see the same thing playing out, they're definitely gonna be like, oh nah, not again, come on. And so hopefully they come out the same way they did last year, the years before, and just get in their head, just mess up their mindset.
What did you think of the flag planting last year?
I thought it was awesome. There's no I do not approve of them making it. What did they do? They made it a law. You can't do that anymore. Oh, come on now.
So you'd be okay if Ohio State then did it in Ann Arbor this weekend?
All I'm going to say is there might be a similar reaction if that ended up happening. But it's part of the game, though, man. I mean, when you play rivals, everybody's doing it. When you play rivals, it's going to get chippy. You're going to be a little bit disrespectful.
Do you have any – I mean, you have an Ohio State teammate in here, but do you have any friends that you – or Ohio State guys that you consider friends?
Absolutely. Well, I have. He goes to Virginia now, but we played high school together. That was my best friend, Mitchell Melton.
Yeah.
But, well, actually, when he went to Ohio State, we really didn't talk at all. So that is what it is. But, yeah, we got, that's my guy. He been balling, but it's different when you in college.
Yeah. So the big story on Thursday night when the Bengals play in Baltimore, of course, is going to be Joe Burrow, but it's also on the defense who has played better football. I called it functional football against Pittsburgh. And then again on Sunday when the Bengals played the New England Patriots, they looked better in those two games. Now they get Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, 2 of the next 3 weeks. You think about the next 3 weeks, you want to see a defense get tested. Yep. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. That's what's in front of the Cincinnati Bengals defense. We know the story is going to be Joe Burrow, but the defense and the quarterbacks they're going against will be a big part of the story as well.
So hopefully we see Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase eating turkey legs on Thanksgiving night in Baltimore. If you're watching this before Thanksgiving, we hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. That's Joe Danneman. I'm Gabby Sorrentino. Thanks for watching another episode of Bengals Locker Room Conversations.